today I want us to explore one of the questions I've been asking myself for a very long time. And I think Elvamenda has addressed it and he's still continue doing that.
We can't see the whiteboard though.
Oh, you can see the whiteboard?
No.
I can see you just wrote, who are we? That
Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I see the whiteboard.
Sorry about that. I see it now.
Do you all see the whiteboard?
I can see it
Yes.
now. Sorry
Yes.
about that.
Is
Yes.
that who doesn't see the whiteboard?
That was me.
Okay. So I'm going to start our discussion for today as with the question, who are we? And I would like all of you to participate, please, and give me your opinion and your thought on who are we. Anyone?
So that's a broad question. So we've got the range from ambassadors of Christ to radical feminists to God's people.
So what do you think,
Priests?
Praise?
144,000.
Is that the correct spelling of priest?
Yes.
144,000. Anyone?
Are we modern Israel?
Modern Israel.
How about radical feminists?
Radical feminist.
We're also students of Bible prophecy.
A student of Bible prophecy.
Not just students, we're actors. We're participants. We're not just students anymore.
You mean like plants in the Matthew 13 agricultural model?
Educational model. Um,
You
Yes.
could say the stone of Daniel 2
Son of Daniel.
and spiritual Ephesus.
I'm trying to figure out how to scroll up on the page. Does anyone know about that?
Repeat your question.
I'm trying to get enough space on my board.
Wants to know how to scroll down on his digital whiteboard.
Yeah, thank you, Bob.
Can you not scroll like you would anything else, like with the mouse wheel or?
Okay, I will add another new section. Oh, I figured out. Sorry about that. And someone said something about before Aaron said Stone have done it too.
And spiritual Ephesus.
It's spiritual. Ephesus.
Yeah, the first church. EP,
Okay. EPS.
EPH will do.
Okay, EPS.
EPH, isn't it?
Yes.
EPH, okay.
Okay. I think I will go with this. With all of this. It's Stone of Daniel 2, spiritual Ephesus. Priest 144, modern Israel, radical feminist, student of Bible prophecy. So these are all who we say we are. And today, we know all of these: priests, 144,000, modern Israel, radical feminists, student of Bible prophecy. Are they all the same? So are we talking about the same group in all of these?
I think so.
Okay. If we are talking about the same group in all of these, is it safe for me to say that, as we said, we are radical? I'm going to repeat the question again. I'm going to go with radical feminist. Do you all agree on that?
As long as we agree on the definition.
Okay. That's a good one. As long as we all agree on the definition of radical feminism. We haven't yet specified on what radical feminist is. And to support that point, I just say, I know Elder Mena have gone through a lot of it, and he took us through a lot of things to define what a radical feminist is. And in his last presentation, I think he said, we looked into the Bible and we couldn't find the correct definition.
Sorry, I'm just thinking something. I could be wrong here
Okay.
because I'm thinking of Elder Parminder's latest presentations, and you know what it's like when you've only listened to something once.
Okay.
But can anyone else help me out? I thought we were saying we're not radical feminists anymore, or did
That's
I
correct. That's
pick up
correct.
Parminder wrong? It's correct, is it?
Yeah, I was gonna say something, but
Yeah,
We're
it took me
just-
a while to work up the courage because,
yeah,
as I say, I've only watched it once, but I thought he said that is not fit for purpose.
It's
That,
not.
we're just feminists.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
okay, thanks.
Okay, but I'll put a counterpoint out there because it's how we have to define it, because Elder Tess was correct in her message. So now it's a matter of defining it correctly. The way that the world has defined radical feminism isn't correct. Feminism does cover all of those social change, but the radical, as far as getting to the root of the problem, that is correct. So it's a matter of the movement defining what that means in order for Elder Tessa's message to be preserved as correct.
Okay. I didn't hear that when he was speaking.
Because like when he was speaking about radical feminism and comparing with liberal feminism, I think he came to a conclusion that feminism can do the job. Are we correct on that? And then for him to like not use radical and just use feminism was that because the feminism, the word feminism itself is correct and is right to do the job that is required, like to achieve the full 100% potential of social reform. Am I correct on that?
So I thought basically the point he was making was radical feminists, they want to overturn the entire patriarchal system.
Right.
And basically that's impossible.
That's true.
So has God given us an impossible job that we will fail at? And you know what it means if we fail at our job?
Okay.
Or are we actually not radical feminists and not seeking to overturn the entire patriarchal system, and that actually we're about to do something else, which is yet to define?
Good. And that's where I'm at. We're about to do something here which is not yet defined of which
Yeah,
that's where I was like, that's where I came to understand what it say at the last, that when we look into the Bible, we don't get a clear understanding of who feminism, or you can say radical feminism, are. Or when we look at scholars, we will not find the same thing we are looking for. So it's out of the Bible or scholars' understanding, and we are the one to define ourselves.
yeah, and I don't think we're defining radical feminism, because you can just go to Wikipedia and find that definition.
Yeah.
So I think we dropped the word radical,
Okay.
and we're going to have our own version of feminism or something like that. I'm not too sure, because we haven't gone there yet.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's about how you define radical. And I'm not sure he said elder test was correct. Can anyone help me out on that?
I have no comment on that.
Okay.
Okay, I would go with feminism for now.
And I'm standing by what I said.
Okay. So,
Emmanuel,
yes,
there is Lana that has her hand up. I don't know if you saw it.
I didn't see it, please.
Hi, happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath.
I just had a question that is may not be quite related to what you're to where you're going, and is that just now Aaron touched upon it, that Elder Perminder, there's a statement that we are the ones to do this job, right, to overturn the patriarchy or the statue, but so what do you think? Is this task personal, meaning that we do it in our lives wherever we're, basically deal it in our lives, or uh, do we have to at some point, will it spill over and end up being do we have to touch a system? I mean, are we tasked with the goal to overturn the patriarchy in the system, or just in our lives, whatever we're, come in contact, or, whatever in our life, in personal lives, but also in, whatever interactions that we have with the world. Just was wondering who has, what do people think about it?
If I have asked, like, hear you clearly, you're saying, are we going to define it personally based on the personal level, or are we going to define it based on corporate level as a movement? Is that your question?
It's not necessarily corporate or not, but it's just about whether it's in our personal lives, right? Our personal experience, right? Or is this at some point will it have to become on a bigger scale? Will we have to touch some, kind of basically the world?
Let me ask this question to all of us. Are our life being defined by the movement, or are we defining the movement based on our life? Can I repeat the question?
Yes, Emmanuel.
I was saying, are we defining the movement based on our personal life, or is the movement defining all of us? Defining our life. I can just say, let me say, dictating our life on how we live, or is it our personal life defining how the movement should go forward or should move forward?
Can I say something on that?
Okay.
So to me, I don't think we define the movement. I think the movement, as we know it, is a representation of heaven on earth. So I believe that the movement dictates how we live, the way I look at it. So the messages, they dictate how we live our lives. When God gives a message, it is upon us to take that and use it to change ourselves and redefine how God. And then as we use that message, if we allow God to work in us, and then it changes us. So I'm gonna go to Lana's question about whether there will be a time where we can do like a public evangelism or on the thing like that. So to me, I don't think that time will come. I don't know. I'm not gonna go ahead of God, but when you look at the way the world is, we are not fit. When you look at the SDA church and also the world in itself, our message, when we go to Adventists, we are kind of, they look at us like we are worldly or secular. And then when we go to the world, they think we are too religious. So I think we are in the middle. But to me, the change comes to when, as a person, it is your duty, the people around you, it's your duty to talk to them about the message. But I don't think we will go to the world anytime soon. I'm not sure about that. Elder Paminda can answer that. But as a person, your spheres of influence is what matters the most. Because if you can't even do that in your own surrounding, I don't think it will have a big impact if you go to the world. That's
Hi,
my view
Sarah.
on that. Hi, Lana.
Thank you so much for your answer. I mean, I think you really understood what I was asking.
Yeah.
So it's really, I mean, it's obviously it has to be in our lives.
Yeah.
Absolutely, by like as a baseline. But
Yeah.
like the question was like bigger, right? And that this is where you actually got me, is where you actually understood me, is that whether it's going to be also on the next level, which is not personal lives, but rather,
Yeah.
you know, bigger scale, bigger stage. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So if I have really understand you, based on the reference you make about the Pamenda saying that we are in the middle, is it what you mean, Bible scholars, and then we are in the middle between Adventist and world?
Yeah. When you look at both sides, they look at us that we are weird, right? Because to them, when I look at Adventists, I think we are so liberal to them. When even the people that I'm close to that are Adventists, when I'm discussing with them something like that, they think you are too liberal, you know. So that's how I view it.
And then the Adventists that I'm around, loosely around here in Arkansas, see me as conservative because they've already departed from Ellen White. So we can't win either way because the world is going to see us as weird, and Adventism on either side is going to see problems with us.
So the question is, then what is our job function, right? Because if we are not fit to these people that are supposed to be our target, what is our job, right? Because I don't know how you think about that. But
I would first say, like, before we have gone to what is our job, we need to define ourselves before we know what we are going to do.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what was the original question?
My question was like, who are we? And a lot of people came up with suggestions that we are radical feminists, we are 144, and we are priests. And I took one out, which was radical feminism. And Aaron came up with like, radical feminism, it should be like feminism can do the same job without radical feminism. And I was like, I stand corrected, and I put feminism alone by itself. And I was asking ourselves, do we all agree with that? This is who we are, feminism, before we define what feminism we are looking for is.
So I just wanted to make a comment. I already made this comment that we one of the definitions, because the question is so broad, and my answer was that we are the animals created in the image of God, but I think it's even actually much more you know much more relevant would be to say that we are the image of we are the beings created in the image of God, which is the opposite to the image of the beast. So basically, if you look at it from the context of Daniel 2, we are the image of God, right?
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you for bringing up Daniel 2, because that's where I was going to head to. And if we are the feminist movement, or feminism movement, is it safe? My second question is it safe for me to say that this feminism we are looking for, or you can say radical feminism, is the same thing we have known in Daniel 2? Which is the stone?
So if we take the definition of radical being root, and then the feet being where the stone strikes, the feet being closest to the ground, an analogy to, I think, a parallel image to the root. I think so.
Okay. Any comment? Because like we know a lot, like we have studied Daniel 2 for more than 30 years. And radical feminism, I think we have been studying it for more than 6 years now, if I'm not mistaken. Since the Midnight Cry message with the test. And we have been struggling to define exactly who are we. We compare ourselves with the liberal feminism, and we find ourselves that we are actually the same. Like there's no difference between us and them. And then we were like, why do we call ourselves radical feminism when we are actually the same, when we are have to share the same goal of social reform? And then at the end we found that means if we are the same, we need to define what we call ourselves radical. Why do we call ourselves radical feminism? What is the difference? What difference do we have? And to add to that, Elder Pamenda, I think Elder Pamenda is in the chat, and he in the last presentation he came out that feminism that we are looking for is not in the Bible. or with the scholars of the world? If I'm correct about that, somebody can correct me. And we are the one to define who we really are without getting it from the scholars of the world or from the Bible. And this is just my thought, that we are the stone. And we know a stone is going to grow up and become a kingdom. That means we are a kingdom, and we are the one to establish that kingdom on earth here. And we are going to set the rule for that kingdom ourselves, without the world and the Bible. And that kingdom is this movement. So what I was going to so far was that setting up a kingdom. Someone, can I read the comment? Someone put in the comment that I think one of the different is social reform for all minorities, communities, women, Black people, LGBTQ. That's one aspect of it, I think, applied to radical feminism. And this is just my thought. I think that we are setting up a kingdom. And the kingdom is the movement. So how are we setting up that kingdom? That's my next question. And to set up a kingdom, we need to have rules. We need to have rules.
So I think we need to find this kingdom because in the Florida camp meetings, I thought, I could be wrong, that the message was that we're not kingdom builders. So maybe somebody could clarify that.
Okay. What do you mean, like we're not a kingdom? If we all agree that it's the son of Daniel 2 is us, and that stone is going to be a kingdom, that's just logical. We know that the stone is going to be a kingdom. So how are we not a kingdom setters?
Because God's doing the work.
God is doing the work.
So we've got two analogies to look at also. We've got the stone, but then we also have the story of the mustard seed and how it grows to be this mighty tree for all these birds of heaven to rest in. All of that is done by God, I think. The stone isn't creating the mountain. It happens. The seed has all of the information it needs to grow into the tree. But the seed itself isn't doing the work. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I'm seeing it. Like there's no one that we're needing to bring in. Those that we're influencing is one thing, but we shouldn't expect anyone to come in based on our influence. Our job is simply to reflect God's character. And if people on their own volition, if God is working with them, then, okay. But our first priority, I think, is ourselves, our movement, and
What is
restoring.
Let me ask you this: what is the movement actually doing? Like, what are we doing? Why do you have this methodology? For what?
Are you just talking about like the ideology that we either hold or believe, or what is like our actual like word, in the sense of, I guess you're trying to identify, is like there's something that we should be like doing, like either physically, or is it just a question of, like what
No,
is
I,
our belief system?
if I'm clear, I asked the question before that, who are we? And we came up with a lot of answers. One of them being radical feminism and feminists in that case. And I was like, is it okay to equate feminism with a stone of Daniel 2? Because we all know the story of Daniel 2. We have gone through it a lot of time, that we know very well that the stone of Daniel 2 is going to destroy the statue. And we are that stone. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, that's correct.
So, and this, according to the story, the stone is going to grow big and become what? A mountain.
I think that's a literal reading of that verse.
Okay. What is the symbolic reading of that verse?
Yeah, we all know we are done it too, but I don't think we will destroy Babylon in any way, because as we already know, I don't think the whole world will change or patriarchy will be destroyed in its entirety. But this message or the methodology is for us, it's to change us. I don't think the whole world will be changed. So that's how I view it. With all the messages that we received in the last 2 years, I would say, I don't think we will change the world. I think this message is to change us as a group. I know that's sad to hear, but when you look at the story of Noah, I think you can see we are in that moment of that's how I view it. I don't think we will destroy the patriarchy. It's up to us as a group, the people that you are within, you are living with, and that's all that God counts. If you can teach them and they listen, that's good. But if not, you can't force them. So the way I look at it, who will never be a kingdom on this earth? I don't think so. I don't think so.
And I'm quite clear that that's not what I'm talking about. Like, as a movement, we are not going to be a kingdom on this earth here. We are building a heavenly kingdom. Is that correct to say that?
Yes.
So it's not about building a kingdom on earth here, right? And
But you say that in the beginning, right? That we are building a kingdom, according to
yeah,
Daniel.
that's true. That's true, according to Daniel. And how do you understand that kingdom? Is it, according to Daniel 2, is that a earthly kingdom?
I'm not sure Aaron can help with that.
The son of Daniel 2, is it a earthly kingdom?
Aaron, help us there. I'm not sure about
Hey,
that.
don't pick on me.
Because I don't.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
it.
okay.
So if we were making application though, because the stone doesn't look anything like the statue.
No.
So, but we can't, there's no, there's no like spelling out of where that kingdom is. So then we have to turn to other stories and how it's applied, and where we find out that it's not on earth.
And that's why I equated with the radical feminism, or which we believe that the feminism we are building here is not on earth. So that makes the stone a kingdom which is not on earth. If we are the stone and we are the feminism movement. Is that clear? I'm asking you, Alyssa.
So I think
So it
what,
doesn't begin. Oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead, Sarah. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, so it doesn't begin here though? And then I mean, I know the trajectory is, of course, a heavenly kingdom, but anyways, it's
Aren't we the church on earth?
Say
Emmanuel,
that
how do
again,
you
Patrick.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, aren't we the church on earth?
Are we the church on earth?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are a church. The movement is a church.
Yeah. How do you define a kingdom?
An institute.
Is this movement a kingdom?
That's the question I was asking. According to Daniel 2, definitely.
The kingdom have a king.
Say it again.
Kingdom has a king.
A kingdom has a king. Oh, you say a kingdom has a king.
Stupid.
Linda,
Yes.
are you saying that a kingdom has a king?
Well, isn't that the reason it's called a kingdom? It has a king.
A kingdom has a king, yeah.
Okay, so I think it's got a bit confusing because we keep asking new questions without answering even the original one.
Okay.
Like the thing about we're developing radical feminism in heaven. You said something like that. I didn't understand that at all. But anyway,
okay.
I think by a biblical definition, Ellen White says the church is the kingdom of God on earth, and we are a church. So in that sense, there is a kingdom of God on earth. But as far as getting famous, going out, giving the loud cry, and thousands or millions of Nephilim coming in and building a kingdom like that, again, I only watched it once, but I think that was Parminder's point, that we're not kingdom building in that sense. Because didn't he talk about having riches and fame and stuff for kingdom building? So I think there's two types of kingdom. Does that make sense? I could be wrong, by the way.
Yeah, I get that. And I haven't talked about anyone coming to the movement or getting famous. I don't think I've talked about that. Did I? So a kingdom, as our people, we know that. And basically, kingdom is established by an institute, by rules.
Sorry, did you ask a question?
Yeah, like.
Go ahead. Say again.
Does the kingdom has to be established by either the kingdom is famous or like known, or does it has to be established based on the laws?
What do you think?
I think a kingdom has to be established by laws.
Okay, so you would say that it's the message, the law and the prophets, the Ten Commandments, prophetic message, where you want to include the baptismal vows, because when you get baptized, you're baptized into the church. It's like your membership card. So we've got some rules.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your other? Is it rules or is it?
Is it rule of just by people? Like people being known, like,
Sorry.
oh, that's a kingdom.
I think it's both. It's twofold.
Okay.
There is the organization, there is the structure, and there is the individual. We have seen when we looked at Daniel 2 that the stone that was cut out without human hands, we have seen how the messages have taken us out of the Adventism mindset or the world mindset, and we're still trying to figure out what that mindset is all about. But I think we are mixing up things with regards to the nature of the worldly kingdom and how we interact with it, because we say we are not in this world. We are not of this world, yet we are still in this world and we are interacting with people. But I think the first work that the hands, the unseen hands have been doing in each one of our hearts, taking that patriarchal mindset out of our hearts, cutting us out of where we were rooted. So, and we are still trying to define exactly what the nature of that work, so that we can understand ourselves, who we are, what's our character, and our job function, and what we should be doing. Because obviously we can see, I guess, the work that is ahead of us. It's not what we thought, like we will go out there and do this, campaigns or evangelism or whatever we used to call it. So I guess we have to understand the nature of that work, but we must understand who we are and what we are supposed to be. And I think we've been looking at the world, feminism as it is understood by the world, and feminism as it has been understood by the SDA. We saw what it was, and we understood that the kingdom of God cannot be compared with anything here on earth. So we must look, I guess we have to define what type of feminism we are supposed to be. So I think there is work that still needs to be done, but we must understand the nature of the kingdom of heaven, which is here on earth, although it is not of this world, but it is in this world. But I do have a question, because we look at Revelation 18. We say what does it say? That the glory of God shall fill the whole earth, the whole world. So if we are not going to the world, how is it that the glory of God shall fill the whole world? Is it in our lifetime, or is it in the millennium, or how do we see that?
I think part of the struggle that we're all going through is looking at, we're recognizing that we are in this world, as Mary said, but not of this world. And yet it's the kingdom, it's a spiritual kingdom. It's not a physical kingdom. And I think we start getting, when I say physical, I mean, we're struggle is between looking at things literally and literalizing some of the statements and the things that we're reading and understanding. We're literalizing it instead of realizing that it's a spiritual kingdom. Yeah.
So how do you set up a spiritual kingdom?
We don't set it up. The stone is cut out without hands. It's a work that God does. And we participate by cooperating and learning and growing and learning how to reflect God's glory and get rid of any remnants of patriarchy that might still be in our mindset or in our actions.
Sorry, should we address Mary's question first?
Mary's question was it about understanding the kingdom literally and the spiritual kingdom?
So if I can try to reiterate it, and Mary can tell me if I'm right or wrong. But Mary made a couple of points, I think, which I agreed with. And then she said, what does it mean that the glory of God fills the earth?
Oh, okay.
How do we apply those texts now? Is that correct, Mary?
Yeah, that is pretty much it.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, as usual, the answer is I don't know. But just to throw something in there, like my best guess, in Revelation 18, it says things like, and the earth was lightened with its glory. August 11th, 1840, you know, a great impetus was added to the work. You know, these missionaries went all over the world and all over the country. Glorious manifestation of the power of God. Paul turned the world upside down. And I think Parminder's, covered this sort of thing before. It's from heaven's perspective, is the way I would try to word it. So when the angel of Revelation 18 at the Sunday law, when we get to E, it might only affect less than 1,000 people in the world. God might be looking down going, this is it, this is wonderful. It's the glorious manifestation of the power of God, lightening the whole earth with its glory. And actually all we're doing is waking up every morning, making our toast, cup of tea, going out to work. So from a human perspective, it might look pretty normal. So again, I could be wrong if anyone wants to add or contradict.
I just want to say that
Sorry.
I'm amazed how Elder Parminder is keeping us apace with messages constantly. And I think that glory manifestation may be what he's referring us to A.T. Jones, Christ in you, the hope of glory. And I think has to happen now. And also about how do you develop a spiritual kingdom? And it's through parable methodology. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. And to be honest, I don't have answer for that for the manifestation of glory of God of Revelation 18. And if anyone asks, Lana, is your answer and if your question answered?
Did you mean Mary?
No, you were the one answering. Was it Lana question?
I think Lana had a question much earlier on.
Yeah, and you get.
And it was something to do with, do we think we get famous?
Yeah.
And then
No.
someone
Sorry.
reiterated it.
I agree, but I don't quite agree. It's not about famous, but yeah, well, I guess the way you put it. But it's really struck me just now, and not to distract you from the just now when you just brought up this point that at the time when glorious manifestation of God's power, right, in 1840, yeah, and there was only less than 1,000 people, that and for God that was like, and the whole world was lit in with the glory of God. It was filled with the glory of God, right? So this is interesting. Maybe this is true, really, because it's not in the numbers, but it is in the what counts for God, right? If not that the world does not count. World does count, but not, how would I put it? If God can see, if God can see face in the people, or find it, what God was expecting to find in a number of people, now however little or however big, then for God, this is the kingdom, and the whole world is filled with the glory of God. And I think that is amazing, because that is actually exactly what, wasn't that Jesus, the story about the mustard seed is that it's only one mustard seed. It's a small seed. It's so tiny. So, but then it grows.
So
Okay, thank you.
So in that
I-
case, sorry, Aaron.
no, you go ahead. It's
All
okay.
right.
You go ahead.
So in that case, then I think then we can conclude that the patriarchy is not going to be destroyed. It's not in the way we had thought before. So if only a few people will have understood the character of God and have produced that image of God perfectly here on earth. So we don't expect the rest of the populations, 6+ how many billions of people, they will still go ahead with their patriarchal ways and all of that. And still, this prophecy can be said that it has been fulfilled, that there is indeed a people, even if it is one, that has fully represented God correctly. And I think Job or Daniel, Elijah can be a witness to that.
So that's kind of where I was actually just going to go. I think if you use the Sabbath Sunday model, the mark of the beast, you'd come to that conclusion as well. There'll just be a few on earth that keep Sabbath after Sunday law and after Daniel 12:1, but everyone else is keeping Sunday. Problem, I know I sound like I answered your question because I gave this answer about all turning the world upside down, but that's only the part, not the whole, because there's still other parts, other texts which I don't understand. So when the stone brings down the statue, if that stone is us, how do we bring down, say, the kingdoms of the world, Satan's kingdoms on earth?
Are you looking
was,
for like a combat? Because you don't have to fight physically. It is
no,
by the
we've
law.
never done
Like,
that.
you can have keeping the commandments of God fully in word and in spirit. That alone, you testify that there is a people who correctly understand and are keeping the commandments of God. You don't have to physically destroy democracy or whatever systems that there are in the world.
So
Just
that fits.
they are living out the principles of equality. It can be said that you have destroyed or you have demonstrated the ethos of heaven.
So that model would fit the Great Controversy model, where Lucifer says you can't keep the law, and then God says yes you can, because there's this group of people, even without an intercessor, who weren't patriarchal. But it doesn't, I'm not sure it answers the other texts, like tidings out of the east and the north shall trouble him. He should go forward to make away many. That sounds like an earthly confrontation. For Revelation 17, the kings, the 10 kings, and they shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. Things like that. And then when the kings turn on Babylon and eat her flesh or whatever it is, burn her or something.
But for our own perspectives here, I think we have come to understand that the making away of many, or the falling away of God's people, it doesn't have to be literal. They are not literally dying. It's losing your faith. It's falling. It's not keeping up with the messages. You know, like what FFA did and all of that, with false doctrines, with misinformation, disinformation, and things of that sort.
Okay.
I think I could be wrong.
Okay.
You know, just going back to that model that Elder Parmender mentioned about the mustard seed in Christ's object lesson, the radical feminists that will not abuse and will not distort the truth. I think those people are what will cause this movement a success at the end. It's not like we're gonna, you know, put down the system, but just the fact there's people that will not abuse and will not distort the truth. Yeah.
Let me ask this question. Is this movement a forever movement or a temporary one?
Can you repeat that again?
Is it movement, the movement we are in, is it a forever movement or a temporary movement?
It will be forever because we'll be translated to heaven. Yeah, those that are faithful to the end.
It will be forever. Daniel says, the kingdom shall not be left to another. So that shows it's forever.
So if this movement is forever, don't we think that whatever we say, whatever we rule we set here is going to live forever?
You're saying
Like
whatever
what?
rules we set down here or message will live forever?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Okay. If whatever rule we're going to set here on earth is going to live forever, wherever it is, in heaven, on earth here, after 1,000 years, it's going to live forever. And as I was saying before that, our movement is equivalent to the Son of Daniel 2, or which is the kingdom. And how we get there is through the methodology that we came up in the. I was not there when Elder Jib came up with the methodology of line upon line, and all Elder Parmender with refining the agriculture model and all of that. I wasn't there, but when I came in, I fit into the movement and I'm following along as the movement is progressing. And I found like there were rules set before, and there were rules that were used to crop up this movement and to build it. So this movement was not built out of blue. It was built out of 14 rule of William Miller, and we are still following that. And we're also adding more, like the baptismal bowl, the baptismal bowls that we follow right now. So if we believe that these rules are going to live forever, then we have a big thing that we are dealing with. We are not just dealing with our own we are dealing our own issues only, but we are dealing with a broader thing that is going to be there forever and ever. And that was the reason I was comparing our radical feminist movement with Daniel 2 as a kingdom. And we have been talking about this kingdom, that we're talking about a heavenly kingdom. And we are not realizing that we are the one actually crafting this kingdom which is going to be forever. I don't know what we are expecting. I don't know what our expectation for God's kingdom are, but according to my understanding is that we are actually the one building up this kingdom until the time Jesus comes, until the time we're going to be in heaven, God wish. And this is a bigger thing than just us here. Like, to my understanding, this is more beyond my understanding. And I think in one presentation, Elder Pamela said that we need a right person to write the right law. And this woman has established itself as the right person, that right organization to write the laws for that forever kingdom. Yeah.
Why we don't focus on the present instead of seeing what is in the future or in the past? You know, I would say that the first question that you ask, you know, in my perspective, it could be answered that we are the 144,000 in the making.
Okay.
Like Revelation 7:3 says, wait, don't harm the land or the sea or the trees until we have placed the seal of God on the foreheads of the servants.
Okay.
So we are the servants, right? The bond servants. When the seventh angel blows, this is Revelation 10:7, blows his trumpet, God's mysterious plan will be fulfilled. If it's a mysterious plan, let's wait. Let's wait until it will become a reality and we will see. That's my thought. Okay.
So are you saying that this is not reality?
What?
Are you saying that this is not real? What we are doing here is not real?
No, I'm not saying that. Read the verse and see that we are the servants of God in the making, the 144,000 that will become when they're going to be sealed at harvest, the 144,000, a reality of fulfillment of the plan of salvation of God. It's a mysterious plan, it says. So trying to guess what's going to come, what is going to happen, your guess is good as my guess. You know, I think let's focus on the present message, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
Okay, thank you. Anyone would has a comment on that?
Anna had a question on the chat.
Since we are not bringing any or interfering with power structure in society, is being radical feminists becoming ready as a people so the Lord can come, because the second advent will ultimately destroy this world patriarchy? Uh, as we know, patriarchy is not going away. And as the reality is that we don't have power to destroy this earthly institute. That's just the reality. So, based on your question, is this second coming going to destroy the patriarchy of this earth? Is there anyone who can answer that before I give my thought?
Yes, because she's talking about the second advent. So we have imagery of Ellen White discussing how the armies of Satan are forming around the throne of God, acting or seeming like they're going to be taking over and conquering. But then they start attacking each other. So at the second advent, God is doing all of the work. And then, so I don't have a direct answer. All I'm saying is that we aren't the ones doing any of the destruction, that's actually they're destroying themselves, but it's because it's because God has come again that it initiates all of that.
So when we look at the successful people, the successful movement that have gone before us, we take a look at John, the Revelator, at the Eye of Patmos. Jesus came and the patriarchal systems were still going on. John was able to represent Christ, the character of Christ, the image of Christ, Christ in you, the hope of all glory. So I'm agreeing with what Alyssa is saying. It is not us who are going out there fighting physical war and things of that sort. They are already destroying themselves. But our job is to understand what the mystery of God is. Learn and bring our characters in line with that mystery, with that message. I think we represent Christ in our daily lives. But I don't see us going there fighting with patriarchal government structures and things of that sort. Like the way we see the radical movements out there in the world, they protest, they are puffing and huffing and kicking. We are not doing that.
Yes, I agree with you that, and that's the reality. We that the methodology have shown us that we are not doing that, and in fact, that's the reality. And as you said, our work is to understand God's kingdom or to understand God's mystery. So, why do we want to understand God's mystery? Why do you want to understand God's kingdom?
To understand the King we serve, to understand where we're going, how to live according to the principles, policies here and now.
Okay, to understand the King we serve, to understand the policies and now and then. This is what you say. To understand also. Troy say in the comment, to understand ourselves and to understand God, if I may add that. So if we want to understand God and God's kingdom and the work we are doing on earth here to be a counterpart. So as we know, we are to be a counterpart with somebody, you need to understand their mission, their goal, and to work together. So we want to understand God's kingdom, of which we are going to be part of, and we are going to be a counterpart. So to understand each other means to work with each other successfully. And if that's what we are doing on earth here, I don't see a difference between God's kingdom, which we call the spiritual kingdom, with what we are doing actually as a movement on earth here. And a lot of people are bringing up the issue of becoming famous. I don't think I've said anything about us like going to public, doing public evangelism and being known or something like that. The methodologies, as we said before, that we are being guided by the methodology we have. And for over 30 years, the methodology that we have been using have been guiding all of us. Some people have left because they did not agree with what the methodology have said. And we are still going with what methodology said. No public evangelism. We say, okay, move on. And we understand why the methodology tell us that we are not going to do a public evangelism. We kept going based on the methodology of priest, Levite, Nethinim, and we came to understanding that none of them are going to join us. If they were not going to join us back then, they will never join us now. That is just methodology guiding us and purifying us. And to say that we are being guided by methodology, we are also setting laws and rules along the way. And these rules are going to live forever. And the reality of things is that we as the movement actually are the one doing it on earth here. There's no, as we have looked into the scholars and to Bible, we have seen that the thing is that's on us. The reality that is on us to do this job. And as we know that this movement is the movement of success, everything has to be successful or otherwise. So whatever, as before I say, like, who are we? We are a successful movement of feminism, of which is also a kingdom, a church on earth. The issue of establishing a God kingdom on earth here is not the purpose of this movement, because we know second coming, we're not going to be here. We're going to go to heaven. That's the truth that we have been advocating for years. So whatever we do on earth here, we are doing it for what is coming. So like the movement is shaping us for what is coming, if I may put it that way. Does anyone have a comment?
Hi, Emmanuel.
Hi.
Yeah, I just want to give a little bit of a comment. So thank you for been a struggle for all of us. Sometimes we don't have the answers for some of the questions, but I think the goal of this movement and all the messages that God has been giving us is to understand God's kingdom first before we can really understand who we are and what our job is supposed to be. So when we understand who God is and the kingdom of God in its entirety, we might not understand everything, but there is a level that God expects that we should. And I think it has been proven with all the messages that Elder Paminda has been giving us. It's really the nature of God that we are getting to understand. And once we understand that, the goal of the 144,000 is to be teachers in heaven. So as God is revealing these truths to us, I think it will make our work easy in heaven once we understand what God's kingdom stands for and what it is. I just want to thank you for, when I look back on my own life, I thank God, it's a privilege. Sometimes we take the good thing that God has done for us for granted. And if we are to look back to Eden, even Adam and Eve that saw God face to face did not have the chance to get to know what we are knowing now. And we just want to thank God for everything. I see it's a blessing and it's a privilege that comes with a lot of expectation that we should take for granted. Those are my few statements. I just want to thank you for your studies today. That's all.
Thank you. Somebody wants to say something?
Yes, I just wanted to add the 2 points that Elder Permender talked about in Christ object lesson, no abuse and distortion, no distortion of truth, sort of encompasses the whole 30 some years of messages that we've been, developing. The no abuses, using the slow brain, what you see is not all you see, and the no distortion of truth is, encouraging us to go back to all the messages and relearning them, refreshing them, and how we can bring about alive again in today's, viewpoints. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you, Gloria. I think my time's up, and I want to thank everyone who has participated in these studies. I don't think I have done a good job, and just to conclude with my studies, I'll say this. This movement is the only one we got. And I'm really, really glad that I'm in this movement. And sometimes it crossed my mind that I'm actually in this movement. Sometimes, like, when I think about it, like, it doesn't feel like a reality. And when I get up in the morning and know that I'm in the movement, just give me hope and joy to be part of this movement. And the reality is that this movement is bigger than the way I think about it. To me, it's bigger than the way I think about it. As I said before, this movement is forever movement. And if this movement is forever movement, and I would just say this movement, I will equate it to God. Because whatever we are doing on earth here is shaping us to that is standard of God, thinking and reasoning. And we are actually doing it on earth here, which is really a privilege that we have that. And I also appreciate all the leaders of the movement, Elder Pemenda and Elder Tess, and all of us, because this is, for me, it's not really easy to do this, to try to come to the understanding of God, to have one mind with God. I find it really hard sometimes. And I'm also glad at some point that I'm in this and we are doing it. Let's keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. And I've been